It's an unacceptable result for us. It was a performance beneath where we'd like to be. It's a performance beneath where we need to be. And I think the whole group are very, very conscious that we have a short period of time to make sure that we accelerate what is part of a progression. We did try to have a very rigorous pre-season, and the pre-season really ran up into the Portugal camp. We tried to taper a little bit at the end of the week, but really we looked flat. We looked slow. We were inaccurate, and we didn't adjust when we could see we were getting trouble in some areas. We didn't adjust and probably take some of the easier options that presented themselves, particularly to retain the ball or win the ball and then retain it. But I think to throw everything out would be a mistake. There were a couple of aspects of play that weren't too bad. I felt that we found a little bit of space in behind them a few times. There were a couple of glimpses of some pretty good structure and getting over the advantage line, and some pretty good defence. A few times we forced them into kicking because we forced them back defensively as well. Now, we didn't do that nearly often enough. We've got a count of 37 missed tackles. For us to be below 80% in a tackle count when we're looking for 90% plus, you can't afford to offer a team the size, skill and experience of England that amount of latitude. And we gave them way too much latitude. Nothing mitigates losing the way we did. And we're not going to make excuses for that, because we know where we are in our progression, and we've tried to periodise our lead into the World Cup. And I do think at this time of the year, or this time of the cycle, every 4 years, you get some pretty, I wouldn't say bizarre results, but you get some imbalanced results because different teams are in different stages. I think one of the advantages for England is that they've had good clarity. They've named their 31. They know where they are at. It's their third game. For most of our guys who played on Saturday, it's their first game. So I'm determined to stay realistic about where we are in comparison to our opponents last weekend. But where we have to be this weekend is a different story, and where we have to be the weekend after is another different story. And we need to see how much more competitive we can be in the space of a week. And there will be a number of changes for this coming weekend. And I know a number of people will anticipate that being the case, because we are still in what we would determine a building phase, a clarification phase for selection. And, once this weekend is over, effectively, selections are done. And Sunday will be a day of sitting down and making sure we can try to get the selection as well balanced as we can make it, to get the right people to then springboard into that final game against Wales and then onto the World Cup. Johnny, he kind of got put back a bit with that thumb injury, and then was trying to catch up a little bit, and just got a little bit stiff and sore, and so he again is very keen to be involved this weekend, but we're not going to be silly about that. We don't tend to blame. What we tend to do is learn and adjust. And so if you blame, you can look back at it and say, try to sort out whose fault it is, or you can go ahead and you can say, what's the solution? How do we adjust better next time? The first thing you do is you do a bit more line out and you put a bit more pressure on it, because, as I said, a lot of what we'd been doing in the pre-season was about physical conditioning, and there were some skills under pressure, because that's what you do. But to then get into the specifics of our set piece, we need a bit more time to get the pressure on us in training so that we do adjust better. and that's what our plan is, and hopefully you'll see evidence of that this Saturday. And if you don't and we don't, then we are going to be under real pressure. To be honest, if there is external noise of that nature, there's certainly no internal noise of that nature. So probably for Rory, it's that internal noise that is most relevant to him, because that's where the decisions are going to be made. And at this stage, there are no decisions that are being made in that direction. So on the back of, there are guys who are going to get an opportunity this weekend, and if they perform better than any other player that played last weekend, then there's always a contest, and you've got to keep that contest live. And I think we've seen that in other teams. You saw an All Black team get beaten 47-26, come out and win 36-0 with a number of changes, where established players were left out and new, fresh players came in and put them under pressure. So I think players will be conscious of that.